Assalamu alaikum to all our listeners and viewers. I welcome you all to another exciting and educating edition of the Health and Fitness Show. I'm Fahad Matin, your host for today, and I hope and pray that all of us are fit and healthy by the grace of Almighty Allah. I do pray that we all had a nice and positive week so far and looking forward for a nice and chillaxing weekend. I know I do. I'm still tired from my holidays. This program is broadcasting live today from the Inspire FM studio today on 24th of April 2025 and the time just past 6 p.m. We're casting our positive vibes to all our lovely people in Luton and surrounding areas of Luton like Dunstable, Harpenden and Bedford. Our positive air is reaching to all our listeners who are listening us through Inspire FM app, website or radio. Or you can also view us via a Facebook live link or a YouTube channel of Inspire FM. All you have to do is just click the live link. If you're listening to the show on any Sundays or any other Thursday night, that means it's repeat. Not today. Well, according to NHS England, to stay healthy, an adult should do 150 minutes of moderate, intense activities every week. And have a healthy, balanced diet is really vital for enabling an optimum health and well-being. And as always, people says, prevention is better than cure. Yes, without further ado, let's talk about our topic today. And today's topic is preventive medicine. Yes, you have heard me correctly. Today's topic is preventive medicine. And I know you are thinking about, oh no, what he's going to talk about today. Well, today is kind of a nice, chillaxing kind of a show because I will be introducing to a very special guest. She's a special guest for today because she will be our future host for Health and Fitness Show. She will be joining the team of Health and Fitness Show presenters. As you know, we have Brother Leo Nazar who do the fitness training and the fitness side of the Health and Fitness Show. We have Brother Suleiman who from Public Health, and he normally bring public awareness messages and so forth. We have Dr. Amna Hawash and your brother Fahad Matin, I myself, sticking up with you since last 12 years. So Alhamdulillah, we have another addition to our lovely crew, and she is none other than as always, I will be mispronouncing her name because Amna knows about how badly I mispronounce people's name, and she is none other than Lamisa Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum, sister. How are you today?
Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yeah, you pronounced it right.
Well, now I must say Amna will be extremely unhappy because she remembers how many times I've mispronounced her name so many times. So how are you today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm okay. Today has been a good day.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So Lamisa is not just a new addition to the presenter because she was a presenter at Sister Speak, but she's also a doctor in training. She's a qualified doctor, but she's getting her necessary training from Luton Dunstable Hospital. But why am I talking about these things? Let's ask a lovely guest today about herself. So one of our tradition of this show is that every single guest need to come and tell us about their life history and history.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it's now your time to shine.
Okay.
So the mic is yours.
Okay, well, I guess I'll introduce myself. Hi, everyone. My name is Lamisa. As Brother Fahad said, I've been presenting with Inspire FM for a while. I was on Sister Speak for a really long time. And now I guess I'm transitioning into this lovely show. So a bit about myself. As Brother Fahad said, I'm a newly qualified doctor, and I'm working in, the local hospital. But aside from like medicine and things like that, I guess a bit about myself. I was born and raised, grew up in Luton, and I really love our town. And I feel like, don't we all? Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, shows like this is really kind of why, like, how we can help our community to kind of improve and grow together, discussing about all these important things and discussing about health and fitness, etc. We aim to kind of positively impact our local community, and I think that's kind of the heart of what everyone does at Inspire Fund. So yeah, I'm very
Yes,
happy to be
indeed.
here
And
today.
when I joined this show 12 years ago, 12 plus years ago, one of the things which I have made sure that this show will be an informative platform for people, for Joe public, for a common man, common man, woman, brother, sister, auntie, uncle, who speak multiple languages. And that's
Mm,
why I do this show on
mm,
multiple languages.
mm.
We do this show in English,
Yeah,
and we do this show in Urdu.
yeah,
And inshallah, after your edition, we will be doing a show in Bangla as well.
hopefully.
So that's called a community spirit, and that's what it is all about. We are here to inform. We are the main purpose of this show is to provide necessary information and education to a common person who may or may not know about these things in that depth and in detail, and they sometimes struggle saying,
Mm,
what is the best course of action I should take, or what should I do? I'm not feeling well. Do I need to see a doctor, or shall I supersede the doctor and go and have a word with pharmacist, or do I need to go to hospital? These kind of things, these kind of, sometimes these navigation is very, very important for a common person who may or may not understand the severity of their own health. And that's why the health and fitness show is very, very important in that sense, because that's how we create the narratives. And today's topic is very much in the same line, which is preventive medicine.
mm.
That what are the so before I start the show, I like to involve our listeners as well. So listeners, I do like you to involve with us. I do like you to get involved with us and get interacting with us by giving us a call on 01582481822, or give or send us your text messages or WhatsApp on 07779481822, and share with us about what do you think about preventive medicine, and what is your thoughts about how to prevent illnesses, and what can we have, what should we do to have a perfect health and well-being. And that's mostly majority of the people have a good idea, alhamdulillah. So if you have some thoughts, or if you've been through necessary preventive medicines, please get in touch with us, give us a call, send us a text message or WhatsApp, or if you like, you can send us a Facebook link or Facebook live messages as well, and get interactive with us. Let us know what are your thoughts about this topic for today, which is preventive health, preventive medicine. So, Lemia, uh, why should people care about preventions, and if they are, especially if they're perfectly fine?
I think that's a very good question. And just to touch upon what you were saying, actually, just in that introduction part to the show, obviously, for people who are in the community who may not necessarily come from a medical background, it's so important to have shows like this where we can kind of break down the topics in a bit more detail, and hopefully in terms that everyone can understand, and make it easy to understand.
Especially, yes.
Definitely. And I think also, a lot of people, they do get confused with what a lot of these things mean. So I guess that is just goes to show the importance of shows like this. But yeah, to kind of touch upon your question about why people should care about prevention if they feel perfectly fine. And I think you mentioned it in the beginning of the program, prevention is better than cure. But what does that actually mean? So I guess from a healthcare perspective, we could look at it in two ways. We could look at the benefit to the individual themselves, and then we could also look at the benefit on a wider scale, on a population level. So I guess on the individual level, it essentially means kind of stopping illnesses before they begin, or trying to prevent your risk of having a condition. And obviously on an individual level, early detection of these conditions, lifestyle changes, reducing risk factors, this is all what preventative medicine is about. But if you can prevent a condition from happening, or you can detect it early on, then it means that often is the case that you won't have to deal with the kind of difficulties that arise as a result of having a condition.
Mhm.
So the effects that the condition will have on your body, the health impacts, kind of the effects that you might have to go through in terms of going to appointments and things like that. that's something that you won't have to go through on an individual level. We're
Hmm.
quite lucky in the UK where we actually have the NHS, and a lot of our kind of appointments and medications are free. Some people may have to pay, but on the whole, it's largely free at the point of care. But obviously, in other countries, the
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. But in other countries, the bigger issue is obviously having to go to see a doctor, having to have to pay for medications, pay for treatment, diagnostic tests. So there's obviously a financial burden that comes with health as well. So with preventative medicine, if we can get to a point where we're living healthier, then the risks of developing these conditions are lower, then you don't have to deal with that. So I guess that's a benefit on an individual level. But if we go to then on a population level, there's a really large benefit to preventative medicine. I think at the moment, the WHO kind of have their list of the leading causes of death. And currently, globally and in the UK, the leading cause of death is ischemic heart disease. And ischemic heart disease is a condition that comes under the umbrella term of non-communicable diseases. So what does non-communicable disease essentially mean? So these are essentially diseases that can't be transmitted from one person to another, and they're usually long-term conditions.
Hmm.
And so with preventative medicine, actually a lot of these conditions we can kind of prevent or detect early. And so as we can see globally and in the UK, if ischemic heart disease is one of the leading causes of death,
Hmm.
and then the top 10 causes of death, I believe it's 8 or 9 of them are essentially non-communicable diseases.
Hmm.
So that means that actually non-communicable diseases are becoming a bigger issue in the kind of global health burden. And so investing in preventative medicine, preventing these diseases from happening, not only will that mean we have a healthier population, but actually on the kind of health resources perspective, you're saving money financially there because less people are becoming ill, there's less of a burden on the healthcare system. So there's two kind of facets, I guess you could look at it by. And I guess examples that we can bring in, for example, the smoking epidemic that we did have. If we look at the past 30 years or so, we can see around our communities, we can see that the attitude towards smoking tobacco has definitely changed. And a lot less people are smoking currently than they used to before. And that
I,
in itself,
I love the terminology you have used. Smoking. Sorry, say that again. You said smoking
tobacco,
epidemic.
smoking epidemic, yeah.
Exactly. It is very unique because nobody have seen smoking in the way that it is an epidemic because people still think that it is cool to smoke.
So yeah, so if we look at the attitude towards smoking over the years, people have focused on preventative medicine in terms of trying to get people to quit smoking or trying to make people not want to smoke in the first place. And I think those types of things really help over
Hmm.
time to change people's perception towards unhealthy habits, essentially. And it requires a push from everyone because we can see with smoking, essentially, that required a lot of support from also government, for example, legislation changes and things like that, to advertising, which all help kind of push that narrative. And I think it's Action on Smoking and Health. They're a kind of organization. They've said that the prevalence of adult smoking has fallen from 75% to 30% amongst men and 50% to 28% amongst women. And that is a very large cut, but also just the effects that will have on those people's health, you know, is great.
Indeed, indeed, I must say it's not just one point prong approach. They have used multiple prongs. They have increased
Exactly.
the price of a cigarette. They have reduced the number of publicity which they do. I remember during my childhood days, there was an advert used to come and says that a person who's having a cigarette can go and kill a lion with a single shot, and it creates a false perception that by having that kind of a lifestyle you can have something which you can only dream of. So it because advertisement do play a vital role. Now
Definitely.
the advertisement is slightly different. It says that if you have a smoking, you will definitely have a long-term conditions or a lung cancer or something like that, and they show the end product of those people who may suffer
Exactly. The images are
because
very
exactly
graphic. Yeah.
images are very graphic. The labeling are completely different. Previously the boxes were used to come in a different color, shape, sizes. Now they are all unified. It's really hard to understand which one is which. So anyhow, it is different now, as we say. And on that note, let me bring our listeners as well. So listeners, if you have any questions or query regarding our topic tonight, which is preventive medicine, please give us a call on 01582 I repeat, 01582 or you can send your questions via text messages, WhatsApp, or you can interact with us on Facebook Live or YouTube Live link. Now, one of the other things which people commonly hear about is the health check, uh, and people normally say, "Oh, go and get the NHS health check done." So, what is NHS health check?
Yeah, so all of this information that I'm going to present today about the NHS Health Check is actually from the NHS website.
Mhm.
And the NHS website is actually a very good resource. They have everything written out very clearly, nice bullet points, so it's easy for everyone to understand. But I'll just give some information regarding the NHS Health Check today. So essentially what it is, it's a checkup of health to identify whether patients are at risk of certain health conditions. So some of these might include, and these are the ones that are listed on their website, so heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease, or stroke. And essentially the health check is aimed towards patients in a certain category.
Mhm.
So that category goes from age 40 to 74 who aren't already diagnosed with those types of conditions. Because essentially, if you're diagnosed with one of those conditions already, you should be getting regular checkups for that condition. So yeah, it's
Yes,
a
indeed.
very comprehensive check. Essentially, how to get the health check: you should be invited every 5 years after the age of 40. If you're not contacted, you can contact your local GP to kind of see if they're offering the service, or your local council to see where you could get it done. And I think also some pharmacies do provide the health check. And I guess I'll discuss a bit about what actually goes on within the health check. So it should take around half an hour, and it involves measuring your height and weight, measuring your waist, a blood pressure test, a cholesterol test, and possibly a blood sugar test as well. And so these are all kind of things which they can use to calculate risk of certain conditions. You'll also be asked some questions about your health as well. So whether any of your close relatives have had any medical conditions, if you smoke, how much alcohol you drink, if you do, and how much physical activity you also do as well. So all of these will kind of be taken into consideration throughout the health check.
So, if I'm not mistaken, this health check can only be offered to a person who do not have a pre-existing health condition.
Health condition, exactly.
So, a person who's healthy, fit, and anybody who hit 40 plus, you said?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So after 40, you can get a full, like the health check essentially on the
From 40
NHS.
till
74.
74. So if you are in the bracket of 40 plus or less than 74, and you are healthy, fit, and do not have any long-term conditions, no diabetes, no heart conditions, no nothing, no COPD, do get in touch with your GP or your pharmacy to get the health check done. And Lamia will explain us how the health check will be conducted.
Yeah,
Lamisa,
so
sorry, Lamisa.
that's okay. So as I said, it takes about half an hour, and they measure different things, and they ask you a few questions about your kind of medical history and your family history as well. And then within the appointment itself, you'll probably be given most of the results. They also do something where they calculate your cardiovascular risk score. And so that is kind of gives an idea as to what your risk is of developing a heart or circulation problem kind of over the next 10 years. So, depending on these different things that they look at and your results, obviously, your healthcare provider, your GP, or whoever's conducting the health check will obviously discuss with you your results and what it means for you and what it means for your risk. Now, obviously, preventative health, it's all about reducing the risk. So, it's not to say definitely this will happen or this won't happen, but it's about your risk of these things. And so then they can kind of discuss about how further to go on, whether they want to manage your condition if you do have a condition, or how best to kind of go about reducing your risk if it is high.
So when a person get this health check, um, and definitely whenever something like this happen, whenever you get a test done or something happens, one of the biggest problem people do think or worry about is the outcome.
Hmm.
What the test comes negative, what will be the danger for me if it says that I have this or I have that. So in the layman terms, what happen if the result come negative, or is it danger or dangerous?
I would stray away from using like terms like dangerous or things like that. I think the point of the health check is to figure out and get a bit of a view of what your risk might be for these things. And if you are at high risk, to be able to get to a position where you're able to discuss with your healthcare providers as to what the best type of plan would be for you. So it's about being able to manage that risk, I guess, together with your healthcare provider, and try and implement whatever management is needed in terms of preventative things and lifestyle measures, but also if you need kind of medical management, that too. And obviously, with conditions, the earlier you pick it up, it gives more time to kind of think about those things and how best to actually go about treating the condition. So I would say that, it's something that if you go, you'll get an idea of what your risk would be for, I guess, the future. And then you'd be able to work with someone to try and figure out how best to overcome it if the results do come back not as you would have hoped.
Hmm. Indeed, and I remember one of my colleague, GP colleague, who used to say, and he always stressed about that. Look, diabetes is a lifelong condition. However, if your parents have it, your family has it, you are not prone to have it by default. Don't ever think that because your parents have it, you will get it by default anyways. It's your own lifestyle choices which will make it happen
Mm.
towards, well, whether you become a diabetic or not diabetic.
So this
Well,
is the thing
Dr.
that,
Chirag
yeah.
Bakai, he's a good friend of mine, and he always used to say that look, you need to take necessary step now. You need to reduce the excess amount of carb into your intake of the carbohydrates, which convert into fructose, which will become the biggest cause of diabetes, and so forth. So
It's about managing those risk factors that you have control over.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and that's what preventive medicine is all about. You need to look into this whole thing and how I can bring the lifestyle together. So, in terms of the preventive medicine itself, how does NHS help to towards the preventive health, and what resources are available for NHS to provide to all people, everybody?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, the NHS website is a really, really good resource in and of itself, and there's lots of information that you can find on there. The NHS itself, it has this better health kind of platform where it offers tools and guidance to help individuals make healthier choices, whether that be around a healthy way to maintain a healthy weight, whether that be kind of advising on physical activity, but also mental health, mental well-being as well. There's also the NHS Live Well kind of section where it kind of gives practical advice on how to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So whether that's healthy eating, giving you meal plans on balanced, nutritious meals, recommending exercise, physical activity, and then tips for sleep as well. And then I think for mental health as well, there's quite a few different platforms available. The NHS website has a section called Every Mind Matters,
Mhm.
and they have a load of resources available on there too.
Indeed, and sometimes these resources help a lot to guide people. And on that note, I must say, wow, the time has passed really, really quickly. We're just about to hit our commercial break. So when we come back from the break, we will speak with Lamisa and get some more information about other screening programs and what other lifestyle and mental health prevention we can use to keep our life better and healthier. All this and much more after these very short breaks. So stay tuned, and we will be right back after these very few messages.
Assalamu alaikum. In Luton and its surrounding areas, it is now time for Salat al-Asr.
लुटन और इसके मज़ाफ़ात में नमाज असर का वक्त हुआ चाहता है.
This azan has been sponsored by Ideal Properties. Contact us on 01582 72 11110 or log on to www.idealpropertiesltd.co.uk.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته إنك لا تخلف الميعاد.
Would you like to sponsor the Azan? If so, give us a call on 01582 481810 or email us on info@inspirefm.org.
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 6:30.
Any health advice given, whether general, diet, physical, or spiritual, is general only and must be verified by your doctor. If you need medical advice, please consult a doctor.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Health and Fitness Show. I'm your host Fahad Matin for today's show, and I hope and pray that you all have a nice and positive time with us so far. Today we are talking about preventive medicine with our very own brand new guest, who's soon to be one of our show hosts, is Lamisa Ahmed, and she's a doctor by profession, or training to become a doctor by profession. This program is broadcasting live today on 24th of April 2025. The time just past 6:30 p.m. And we are live from the studios of Inspire FM for our lovely people in Luton and all the surrounding areas of Luton, like Dunstable, Harpenden, Bedford. Our positive airways reaching to all our listeners who are listening us through Inspire FM radio, app, or website, or viewing us through our Facebook live sessions or YouTube live channel. So, Assalamu alaikum, good evening, and welcome back. So before we went on break, in the first half of the show, we were talking, and we are still talking about preventive medicine, and we started the show with NHS health checks and how NHS can help us towards preventive health measures, and how we can look after our health and well-being. Now, on this side of the show, we will talk we will discuss a bit more about a screening program and lifestyle changes, which play a vital role in our health and health management, and definitely we will focus on some foods. I love foods, you know that, because you see me, a very a very fatty blobby person. So yes, and I love food, but if we can have a healthy diet, we can definitely change our lifestyle, and it will definitely help us in the longer run. So let's start our show. But before we start our show, I do like to involve our listeners as well. So listeners, I do like to have your feedback about the show. What do you think about the show so far? And definitely like your interaction with us. What do you think? Give us a call on 01582 481822, or you can send your messages via text message or WhatsApp on 07779 481822. Tell us about your experience with preventive health. What do you do to stay healthy and well-being? Do you use your personal remedy? Do you use certain medication? Do you use vitamins, or do you just do social prescribing kind of thing, like going out for a walk, healthy exercises, healthy eating? Tell us about your experience. We do like to hear from you. So give us a call on 01582 481822, or send us, if you're shy like some of us, send us a message. So Lamia, before Lamisa. See,
You started off well.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of the very bad habit of mine. I often mispronounce my guest name, and yeah, the maximum time I've mispronounced somebody's name is none other than Amna, and she literally like to kill me one day. Anyhow, Lamisa. So you, on this half, we will like to focus on about screening program and lifestyle changes. So tell us, what are the screening programs available via NHS?
Mhm. So there's quite a few screening programs available via NHS. I think I'll start off first by just explaining what a screening program is as well. So screening is a way to find out if people have a higher chance of having a health problem, so that early treatment can be offered or information can be given to them to help make their informed decisions. So yeah, the aim is to offer the screening to people who are most likely to benefit from it. So for example, certain age groups who might be at an increased risk of developing a condition, we might screen them, for example. So yeah, that's basically what screening is. With regards to, for example, what the results actually mean, so this is also all explained on the NHS website. It's under a page called NHS Screening. So if anyone wants to go look it up themselves as well, they can feel free to do that. And as I said, all the information that we talk about today is all available on the NHS website too. But yeah, in terms of what the results mean, so if you get a normal result after a screening test, it means that you are at a low risk of having the condition that you were screened for. Obviously, again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you will never develop it in the future, but it just means that you're low risk at this moment in time. And then we'll go on to discuss about the types of screening that are offered by NHS England, since we're in England. At the moment, there's quite a few different ones. For example, there's a bowel cancer screening program that's aged to everyone aged between 50 to 74. and that's in the form of a home test kit every 2 years. So once you're over 50, it's likely that you might be offered that screening program to have a look at your risk of bowel cancer. And I can go into that in a bit more detail if you'd like, but I'll go through the other screening programs quickly first.
Exactly.
So yeah, there's also cervical cancer screening for women and people with a cervix aged 25 to 64.
Mm-hmm.
There's also breast cancer screening for women aged 50 to 70. There's a lot of screening programs, for patients who are pregnant as well. So screening for different conditions that they might face in pregnancy. So these are offered. They're screening for newborn babies, like the physical examination, the hearing test, and a blood spot test to check if a baby has any. There's these lists of like 9 rare conditions, so that test for that. Also for people with diabetes from the age of 12, everyone with diabetes are offered regular diabetic eye screening to look for signs of any diabetic retinopathy, which is a condition that can develop as a result of your diabetes. So yeah, there's a few others as well, I believe, but that's just to list a few, I guess.
Yes, and one of the other screening program which will be introduced soon will be the lung health check.
Okay,
Because that's a brand new program which will be coming very shortly.
No, I wasn't aware of that one.
It's especially for people who have been smokers or smoking in the past, but it's not just isolated towards lung health check. It goes through whole thing because your body's been scanned to depending on if they do a first screening, and then if they require, they will do an MRI on top.
Okay.
So it is a progressive.
Is it a work in progress at
Yes,
the moment? Fine.
yes. So at the moment there are necessary trials going through, and you have seen certain trial buses in different car parks of like Sainsbury car park in Luton or other places as well. So these kind of things is also and it's called lung cancer screening program, which is specific towards those things, because there are some of the cancers are very progressive. Lung cancer is one of them, which becomes very progressive very quickly if it's not been isolated beforehand. So yeah, that's and there are other screening programs as well, which is currently in progress towards. So in terms of the other than the screening program, screening program is good because it helps screen our current health issues. But what can we do, or what is the role of a healthy lifestyle and mental health play in the prevention part of the whole lifestyle?
Yeah, definitely. So lifestyle mental health is a large part of kind of preventive medicine. I think actually
let's dissect them. Let's pick the lifestyle first, and then we will pick the mental health. And we have to be very superficial. We cannot go deep dive in, because that's something which we will do specifically topic wise, inshallah, in future.
So yeah, so if we talk about lifestyle measures first, maintaining a healthy lifestyle is one of the larger ways in which actually we go about preventive medicine, I guess. It's one of the key parts.
Exactly.
So in terms of things like your activity levels and your diet, kind of your sleep plays into it too. I think a lot of people don't realize how important sleep actually is with regards to how you feel. Generally, water as well. Hydration is a very big thing. So all of these plays a massive part in prevention. If you maintain, I guess we have a lot of advice coming out, and obviously I've talked about the NHS website, but actually how many of us are using it to look up different things? But there's a wealth of information on there, and if we actually implemented it, who knows where we'd be.
Exactly. And sometimes people do say, oh, well, yes, it's good, but we do not have time. When can we go? How can we do? We have a hectic lifestyle.
I completely understand.
And some people say we do not know how to do it. We are old. We do not have the technology in that way. We cannot see those things. Can you just WhatsApp me? So things like that. Oh, well, if you are in that kind of a category, I personally think so. Stick to the basics. What are the basics? Well, have a proper sleep, 8 hours sleep. This is a thing which has been embedded in our head from our elders and generations after generation, that go and sleep early in the night, wake up early in the morning, have a proper 6 to 8 hours sleep to have a healthy lifestyle. If you have that, it will give you less mental health issues,
Mm.
good memory, and people don't realize that. Same thing with water. If you have hydrate your body, and in this country the biggest problem is we don't feel thirst. Do you feel thirsty?
Not really, I guess not.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think it's an easy thing to skip. As since I've started working, obviously, I was a student for a very very long time. But since starting working life, I feel like I realized, before people used to say, there's not enough time to even eat lunch. There's not enough time to drink water, and I was like, that doesn't make sense to me, because when you're a student, you make that time for yourself when you need to. I'm sure some students who study very, very hard might be on a different level, or maybe they might skip, drinking and things like that. But I think for most of us, we manage to make time.
It's good to skip drinking.
Oh, as in drinking alcohol,
But-
yes. I meant drinking water, or like keeping hydrated in general.
Yes, indeed.
But since starting working life, I've realized how busy things can get, especially if you're in a kind of demanding job that expects a lot of you.
Indeed.
It's easy to put aside your own needs for whatever your job is demanding of you. So I do understand where people come from when they say, it's really hard to stay on top of it. I experienced that myself. But I guess it's about being a little bit more proactive. In the morning, grab a water bottle, fill it up, carry it with you. If you have your water by your side, it just becomes so much more convenient for you to take a quick sip in between whatever you're doing.
Indeed.
If you've packed yourself a healthy lunch, if you packed yourself some snacks, it prevents you from having to go down to the canteen to have canteen food, which may not be 100% healthy.
Can I give you a very little secret?
Go ahead.
Majority of times our body is craving for water, but
Mm.
sometimes our brains just pass a message that you're feeling a bit peckish, have something. But
Mm.
actually it's asking for water. It says,
I see.
hydrate me. And that's because one of the things which we normally do, let's have a bite of a crisp, let's have few crisp, let's have a cake, let's have this, sweet, perfect, let's have a bite of a candy bar or something in that sense. So things like that, because it's quick, easy, available in front of
Definitely,
us,
because
we
it's
normally
convenient.
do that. So our body and our mind is prepared that whenever they feel thirsty, they extracting water from that food. But people don't realize that food is going into our body as a fatty acids, as a fatty deposits across our body, and somebody become fattier like myself, unfortunately.
I think
But
it's about balance, isn't it? Really?
Exactly.
So it's about making sure that we have all of the right amounts of everything that we need.
indeed.
So of course, sweets and things like that sometimes is fine, but it's all about everything in moderation.
Mhm.
I can't say that for myself. I know I have a very big sweet tooth, but it's about maintaining kind of that balanced diet that we get taught about. Your 5 fruit and veg a day when you were a little kid, and people always think about.
Don't say 5 fruit in front of brother Leo, because he will always say 7 fruits
Oh,
and vegetables.
really? Yeah. So
'Cause
I
he's
guess
a dieti-
7.
he's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
dietitian by background. as
They
well, so-
definitely know way more. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and the way he creates the diet plan is brilliant. If you hear brother Leo's show, you will learn that the way you can easily break down the necessary ingredients within your body is brilliant.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do not need to take much.
Yeah.
So coming back to the main line where I say is that sometimes you have to stay healthy and basic lifestyle. So if we stick to the basics, we can able to achieve all those necessary things by having a basic lifestyle, having sleep in time properly.
I guess these are things that help, in the side of preventative things, help reduce your risk, and that's what you want to aim for.
Exactly.
Essentially.
Having, instead of going for if you think that you need to go to a gym for a workout, instead of doing that, and if you cannot do that, go out for a walk. Sometimes it's sunny day, like
Yeah.
today there are sunny spells, perfect, just go out for a walk.
Yeah, a
Even-
brisk walk where
exactly, a
you're
brisk
walking,
walk.
getting your heart pumping. These are all
Even
good.
at the time when there's like a slightly few drops of rain coming through, cover yourself, go for a walk, have that fresh air, because that fresh
definitely.
air helps your body to oxidize necessary organs, which will help you in the longer run. Now when we talk about oxidization, we always talk about mental health as well, because mental health is a crucial element in our lifestyle. So what do you think that the best way of preventing mental health illness or mental how can we have a better mental health and well-being?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I wouldn't be able to talk about specifically about what things can prevent mental health illness, but in terms of how to generally have good habits where we can maintain good mental health. I think that's important that everyone kind of researches into in their own way. I think one big thing that contributes to a lot of people is stress. One thing that a lot of us kind of face, especially, for example, working people. If you've got things going on, personal things that are going on, these can all contribute to your mental health and how you deal with your stress. But I guess the thing to kind of look at is how best we can deal with these things when they come on. And when you have kind of, I guess, adequate ways in how to overcome it when you're in that situation, that's what ultimately helps you get through it in the long run.
Exactly.
Um,
And one of the things people don't realize is to how best manage it. And it's very easy nowadays. Medical sciences is going towards that way of mindfulness, mindful thinking, giving
Oh yeah,
yourself
so these are
time.
things that you can implement throughout the day in your
Exactly.
own kind of routine to try and help you keep, for example, your stress levels low and things like that. There's loads of so as I said earlier, on the NHS website, they have an area called Every Mind Matters, and you can look at very useful tips. I think they also have this thing called Your Mind Plan. So it's where you take kind of 5 questions. It asks you about kind of how you're feeling at the moment with regards to stress, anxiety, and maybe your mood as well, I think. And then it gives you a few tips as to what you can implement into your day-to-day routine to try and help reduce that, essentially. So I think it's quite useful.
And you know what's the best thing to do about stress management? Take a deep breath in.
Yes, and we practiced
We
this
just
during
practice
the
this.
break.
So and that's what, and I'm coming back to the previous point of view, smoking habits. Why does smoker feel that they need to have a smoke in order to reduce their anxiety levels?
Yeah,
The reason,
stress can be one of the reasons.
exactly, because the reason they need that stress level to go down is because they think that having a puff of cigarette can help them reduce that kind of a stress. That's not the truth. The thing which helped them reduce that stress is taking a deep breath in, because in smoking, what the person smoker do, they put a cigarette in their mouth and they take a big puff, and then they release, and that's what they are doing. But you can do exactly same thing without having a cigarette in your hand. And
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's difficult to say. Everyone has their own reasons and their own biases. But I
exactly.
think, with regards to what you're saying with inhalation, yeah, breathing techniques is one of the more widely used techniques. There's the 4-second kind of technique, I believe, also called the box method. So you can take a breath in for 4 seconds, you hold it, and then you do a long exhale. And all of these kind of techniques, if you implement them throughout the day or when you're stressed, they can help kind of calm you down a little bit and maybe ground you in the moment. But as I say, there's loads and loads of resources actually
Alhamdulillah.
on the NHS website that you can
Exactly.
look at yourself as well.
Exactly. Now, coming back on food, which is my favorite topic. I love food. What food should people be focused on, and what shape to shape a healthy lifestyle or healthy diet?
So essentially, it's about having, I think, our colleague on the show would be better to explain about this since he is a dietitian. However, I'll try and do my best in terms of with the information
Leo
that I
is
have.
best. Leo is perfect in a sense. I remember even now when I have him as a guest of mine, or if we are all presenters, and inshallah you will see that when we are all together sitting in either beginning of the year or end of the year, we normally sit all our presenters together, and we
That's
have
nice.
a presenters hours
Sure.
only. And I always throw a curveball towards Leo or towards Suleiman, something like that. And he always says, "You always like to challenge me in a very last second." I said, "Yeah, that's the beauty, because you know that topic. That topic is your lifestyle, your bread and butter." But anyhow, sorry.
Yeah, so in terms of what you want in your diet is to have a healthy, balanced diet with all of the kind of food groups. So obviously, some might say 7 portions of fruit and veg. On the NHS website, it's written as 5 portions of fruit and veg every day. And then basing your meals on high fiber, starchy foods, like, for example, potatoes, bread, rice, or pasta, but not to have these in excess, to have them in the amount that you need to have them. Also, you can have some dairy or dairy alternatives like soya, for example, and then to add in things like beans or fish, eggs, meat, and different sources of protein. So yeah, and then obviously a lot of people talk about kind of fats and things. So having unsaturated oils or unsaturated spreads is better because the fats are generally tend to be better for your body. And then to drink plenty of fluids, as we said, hydration is very, very key. It's good for your skin as well, which, you know, is important to a lot of people. So
You know, one of the things people do not understand or do not realize is that hydration is not just good for your skin, it's good for your bowel movement as well.
definitely.
So people who have bowel issues or have an upset bowel, IBS, or any such things, if they have a regular intake of water, somewhere between 2 liter and 3 liter, it will help them resolve that issue. They may have a better bowel movement. The people who are suffering from constipations, it will reduce the number of constipations. It will reduce the dependency of having that constipation medications they normally have. So things like that is helpful. So, and these things are available in front of us, and we don't realize.
Yeah, taking care of what you eat is important. I think recently there's been research into kind of gut health and what that means, and also the link between gut health and maybe different conditions. And so it might mean that actually maybe our gut health is more important than we realize, and the food and the things that we intake is more important than we realize. So having things like enough of each group is important. And I think in terms of having, you know, 5 portions of fruit and veg a day, I know for a long time I didn't, but it's a lot easier than maybe people think.
Indeed.
Just to have a bits and bobs here and there.
Exactly. And we just passed Ramadan. So in Ramadan, Sahri time is one of those things where we end up stuffing ourselves. I remember brother Tariq always have a pot of yogurt right in front of him as a part of a Sahri ritual, and it always helped him to do that. And on that note, I must say, wow, the time has passed really, really quickly. We have just under 3 minutes or approx 2 minutes before the end of the show. So if I ask you to do a quick catch up and a quick message in a minute time,
Sure.
Here you go.
So on today's show, we essentially talked about preventative medicine, investing in our health in the current time being to ensure that we can reduce risk later down the line. We talked about different resources that are available. So the NHS website is full of information, but also regarding kind of NHS screening programs that you might be eligible for, along with the NHS health check. We also talked a bit about how to kind of look at how our lifestyle can contribute to preventing our risk of disease, and also about kind of diet, sleep, and maintaining our mental well-being.
Indeed. And what's your positive message all about? You just give a good recap. And what's the positive message as a doctor you like to pass it towards, as a doctor in training, what is the message you like to pass to our lovely listeners and users who will be coming to see you, inshallah, in future?
Inshallah. I would say that, let's try and maintain as healthy a lifestyle as possible. Let's try and go out for a walk every day. I think that would be my message. One walk every day. Let's see.
One walk every day.
You can see me in about a month's time whether I've stuck to that.
Yeah, one walk every day. Stay hydrated. Have a proper sleep, and those kind of things. The basic things. Stick to basics.
Yeah.
Stick to basics and stick in moderation, because that's what our religions tell us. That's what Islam tells us. Stay in moderation.
Definitely.
Everything should be in moderation, and inshallah Allah will help you and Allah will guide you if you do that. And on that note, I must say, wow, thank you so much, Lamisa, for being a perfect guest for our show today.
Thank you for
and
having
inshallah soon we will be seeing you on the hot seat
Inshallah.
in the health and fitness show in one of the Thursdays, where you will be leading a show by yourself, inshallah. Okay, so all on that note, guys, it's me, Fahad Matin, signing off. Next week, inshallah, brother Leo will be joining us, and he will be running a show on health and well-being in terms of fitness wise, on a very unique topic which he will reveal, inshallah, on that day. So till that time, remember us and your duas. Your duas are something which we definitely need every single time. Stay healthy, stay hydrated, stay well, and remember us in your duas. Assalamu alaikum.